Hello, everyone. Hopefully, you're having a good COVID-19 time away from school at the moment. What we're going to do for the next few weeks is we're going to be constructing several things, but for this week's lesson, we are going to be constructing copying a line segment, and we're going to be copying an angle. So, meaning you're going to be given a segment. From the segment, you then need to construct a segment that is the same length. And same thing with angle, where you're going to be given an angle. Based off that angle, you need to construct an angle that's exactly the same size. And so, as I mentioned to you guys last week, you're going to need a compass, which is what I recommend you have, and a straight edge. So a straight edge, you have a ruler, great. It could be a protractor, it could be your ID card, anything that has a straight edge, and that will work. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to copy a line segment. So here in example number 1, it should be in your workbook, lesson 5.31. So you're given a segment MN, and so when they say copy the segment, meaning they want to construct another segment that's the same length. So first thing you need to do is when you copy a segment, you need to start off with a point. So with that point, you can choose whichever you want. So I'm going to put a random point anywhere I want, above or below, and I'm going to label that point X. You can label whatever letter you want, but I'm just going to label point X. Next thing you need to do is take your compass, and so for your compass, you should have a pencil part, or some of you guys may a lead part, and then you should have a sharp point where it's your base. So first thing you need to do is take your compass, put the sharp point at point M, and then open it up so that it's the distance between M and N. So it's obviously it's not that same distance. I'm gonna open it a little further apart until it's the same distance. So there you go. So it looks like it's about the same distance between M and N. Then you take your compass, don't change the size of it. Put the sharp point on X, and you're gonna create an arc that it's in front of it, okay? Just like this. So again, you're going to take your compass, open it up so it's the distance between M and N, the distance between basically your segment. Take the sharp point and put it on point X, which is the point that you chose to start off with, and then you're going to draw a half a circle in front of it or to the right of it, okay? Next thing you're going to do is you're going to draw your second point, and your second point can be any point along this point on your half arc that you created from your compass. So it could be to the right of it, could be a little bit above it, could be to the bottom, because that means the distance from X to any point that's on this arc right here, it's the same distance. So it's really up to you. I'm just gonna make it simple. So I'm just gonna put Y, I'm gonna put this point, the red dot, Y. Okay, I'm gonna label point Y. And so I'm gonna connect X to Y. There you go. So that means the distance between X to Y is the same distance between my given segment, which is M to N. So just follow this direction and go ahead and copy your segment. Your segment could be short, it could be long, but in your assignment, I'll provide you with the segment, and you just go off of the segments as provided, okay? So that's for the segment. For the angle, in example number 2, you're gonna be given an angle. So your angle could be X, Y, whatever. It's just an angle that they're going to be given. So sometimes you might be given an acute angle, sometimes an obtuse angle. It could also be a right angle, but the one that I'm gonna demonstrate on for you is going to be an acute angle. And all of your problems are not going to be an acute. Sometimes they will be an obtuse, but it's the same thing. So first thing is to start off copying an angle, meaning we're going to draw an angle that's exactly the same thing. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a ray. So if you guys remember what a ray is, you put a point, and I'm going to label this X, okay? I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to label this point X, just like how we copy a segment. I'm going to draw a ray. So you guys know a ray means it's from, this is what a ray looks like if you guys can recall. Okay, so a ray just means a line with the arrow at the end, just like this. So you start off with a ray just like that. Then you take your compass, okay? You're going to take your compass now. You're going to put the sharp point, and you're going to put it on point J. And you're going to create an arc, okay? the arc that you create in front of point J using your compass, it doesn't really matter how far you go out. But for me, I try to stay like in the middle, in between the lines. So I don't want to go too far out. So there is no particular distance you want to go out, but here's a sharp point on J. I'm going to go about halfway like I told you guys. And I'm going to create arc, just like how I did the segment. But when I create this arc, make sure you cross both lines. Lines mean both sides of your angle. If it's an obtuse angle, your arc may have to go further to the left, because in obtuse, that means one of your sides is going to be further to the left. So in our case, we didn't have to go that far because we have an obtuse acute angle. So what you're going to do next, okay, and you're going to label this point, actually, not quite yet, okay. Let me take that back. So whatever distance I created with J, the same arc that I created on angle J, I need to go back to my ray, which is the X, and I'm going to create that same arc, okay? So don't change the distance. So let me repeat that again. So whatever distance you use on angle J, on your given angle, which is angle J, to create an arc, that's the same arc or distance you're going to use to go up on point X and create that same exact arc. Now on angle J, you have a point here. I'll call this H, okay? This location up here is H. I'll call this location right here, down here, point I, okay? And I'm gonna go ahead and create the same angle. So here, let's transition down here. On my ray, when I create this arc, I got a point here. I'll call this point Y, okay? So the last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my compass, I'm gonna open up my compass so that's the distance between H and I. And so I'm gonna put the sharp point at I, measure so it's a distance directly from I to H, and I'm gonna use that same distance on Y. So just give me, so sharp point at I, it's too far above, so I'm gonna change it so that it's a little smaller. Okay, so that's pretty, okay, so that looks like it's about the distance between I and H. And so you take that distance, don't change it. The sharp point's on I, so you're going to take the sharp point and now put it on Y, and you're going to create an arc again above it. Okay. After you create that arc, there should be a point of intersection above it. Okay. So let me repeat this last step again. Make sure you open your compass, the distance between I to H. You take that same distance and you take the sharp point and go to your ray, which is on Y, and create an arc above it so that there's a point of intersection. This point of intersection right here, I'm going to call that point W. And so I'm going to connect W to X, and there you go. I'm going to, after I connect that, I've copied my given angle. So if you look at it, the angles are pretty similar, okay? And that's what it should be. The one below that we copied is just a little tilting upwards, versus the other one's more tilting downwards, but it doesn't really matter. But the angle measure should be pretty much the same degree, okay? And so I'll make sure if you're not sure, continue to just watch the video over and over and follow my steps. And that's our assignment for this week. And have a good one, everyone.